This constitutes a security hazard.
Hello everyone, Jack here. Welcome back to Security Hazard Minis. Today, well, on the subject of minis, we're looking at some Dinky Toys. These are the UFO Dinky Toys, produced in the early 1970s to tie in with the original release of Gerry Anderson's first live-action TV series, UFO. And even though it was a more grown-up adult series, Dinky was still very, very keen, of course, to come out with more toys. I do actually have several Gerry Anderson Dinky toys, and I was trying to think, how do I want to cover these on Security Hazard Minis? I'm not quite sure. There's kind of too many of them to cover all in one video, so I thought, well, let's break it down by series, or let's put them into groups. So there'll be more Dinky toy videos coming in the near future. But today, I wanted to focus on the UFO ones because I feel like these are particularly special. I do have all three that they came out with, and well, they're very, very nice things. So let's go into each one. So first of all, we have the very, very green SHADO Interceptor. Dinky, of course, were famous for not paying too close attention to what color things actually were. Of course, we all know that the SHADO Interceptor is actually white, but they decided they wanted to do it in green, which of course is an offset to what they did with Thunderbird 2, where it was originally their Dinky toy was blue, and then of course the Eagles they decided to do in green and blue, and actually wanted to recommend this. This is a book that Fanderson produced for members a few years ago, which is sort of a complete book of Gerry Anderson Dinky toys, which goes over all the different variants of different colors and different styles and different packaging that they did for all of the Gerry Anderson Dinky toys. This is a very cool book. If you can pick this up, I think you have to be a Fanderson member to basically to get one of these. I think it was originally a membership gift, but very, very good book, very informative, just has everything in it. It is just a complete guide. And I will very much be kind of basing all of my research off of what's contained within these pages. And indeed, the SHADO Interceptor, catalog number 351. And of course, the only color it was ever done in is this metallic green. They did do a few sort of variants with different colored canopies, I think, and things like that. But by and large, this is the version that you have. Now, one thing missing from mine, which I'm sure is missing from many, many other UFO Dinky toys, and that is, of course, the missile. Of course, we all know the SHADO Interceptor famously had quite a large missile protruding from the front, just the one missile, because that's all you ever need when you're shooting at UFOs in space. And yeah, sadly, mine is missing the missile. You can buy replicas and things like that on eBay and buy replacement ones, but they tend to be a little bit pricey. So I've never replaced mine. This is how I bought it. And it's worth saying that as far as collecting dinkies are concerned, I was never that interested in getting them in pristine condition. So you'll find all of them are missing something, or the paint will be scratched, or something else. Aside from the missing missile, this one's actually in pretty good condition. It's still got all the plastic legs rendered in beautiful 1970s orange. It's still got the stickers on there as well for SHADO. The gold rear thruster is very nice indeed. The blue canopy, and inside is a interceptor pilot of sorts. He doesn't look much like a SHADO pilot, it has to be said. He looks more like a generic fighter pilot. So that's very interesting to see that in there. The missile firing mechanism, obviously, I can't demonstrate it, but the mechanism is all there. You basically have a spring-loaded trigger at the back, which you pull that all the way back, and that primes it ready to fire. And then there's a button on the side. If I press that, you can hear it pinging, and there's a little kind of firing mechanism in the front, and that shoots your giant missile out of the front, never to be seen again. basically. And obviously, that's what happened with this. At some point in the past, someone fired that missile and they never ever found it again. So there you go. I imagine how many eyes were fired out thanks to that giant missile going straight into someone's face. But yeah, there we go. That is Dinky number 351. A beautiful addition to the Gerry Anderson collection. I mean, overall, the shape, I should say, actually, the shaping of this thing is marvelous. It's a really nice, big, weighty toy. It is very excellent. Of course, the color is completely wrong. It's a shame that they did not prioritize getting the colors right at all. In fact, they seem to actively make them as far from the reality of them as possible, which is a real shame because every other aspect of these toys is so great. They're so well detailed. They've got all the right features in the right places, and they've got the firing mechanism for the missile, the plastic skids, everything. It is fantastic, except for the color. Kind of unforgivable. But there you go. That is the green SHADO Interceptor. Now, I'm going to move on to Ed Straker's car. Interesting choice of vehicle for Dinky to decide to produce. And if I consult my little book here, I can tell you that this is Dinky number 352, also released in 1971. They stopped selling it in 1975. And you could get it in gold with a blue interior. This one has a black interior. You could also get it in a sort of yellow with a white interior, yellow with a gray interior. Just all sorts of different variants on this. Now, it's interesting that this is gold with so the book here says that the gold with a blue interior, but this is gold with a black interior. So maybe this has been refinished at some point. Maybe someone switched out the interior. I'm not sure. Or maybe the book just doesn't quite detail this version of it. But Ed Straker's car, there's not a lot to say about it. It is pretty much an ordinary car, toy car, in that it has, spinning wheels, and that's about it. It does have a detailed interior as well. The gold, I prefer it in the gold. Of course, again, not exactly screen accurate. It's closer than the green Interceptor to what we see on screen, which is a sort of brown color. But still, gold is pretty far off the mark. What's interesting about this is that Dinky were very good at making toy cars. That was their bread and butter. So presenting them with anything different, like an aircraft or anything else, I can imagine it probably was a bit like, oh, what do we do with this? How do we tackle this? And so rather than doing something like Skydiver, I mean, I would have thought surely Dinky would have wanted to do Skydiver. That is such a fantastic toy that never really happened. Not until much later anyway, when sort of toy models came out of it, but never a really good Skydiver toy. But anyway, they did do Ed Straker's car, and it's fine. I mean, there is nothing particularly exciting about this. But of course, the car design itself was really, really cool. Totally impractical, of course, but yeah, the car itself is a really interesting design. Of course, it originally appeared in the film Doppelganger, and they just carried it over to UFO. But it featured all the way through the series. Everyone drives them. In the futuristic world of the 1980s, we will all be driving cars with gull-wing doors, car telephones, and a turning circle. I think was about 3 miles wide. Really, really interesting car. Cool to have a toy of it, but not necessarily the most exciting thing that Dinky could have done. Now, speaking of exciting things, we come to the SHADO Mobile. This is SHADO 2 Mobile. I'm going to consult my book again because I want to make sure I'm getting this absolutely right. They only ever did SHADO 2 Mobile. They didn't do any variations because I know like companies like Product Enterprise did a lot of different variations of the SHADO Mobile. This is the only one that Dinky did. It's in a sort of dark military green, which again, not particularly screen accurate, but what can you do? This is Dinky number 353. I actually do have a replica box. Worth saying that this is a replica box. It's not the original box, but it gives you some idea of what what the original box would have looked like. So it's basically just got artwork on the front and all the details of the toy on the inside. And actually, looking at it, some of the copy on this is in German. I wonder if that was. Oh, it's English on the other side. Okay, they did English, and I think that's German anyway. Yeah, but very cool. So nice to have a little replica box. It just displays with it quite nicely. I think that's how I originally bought it. I didn't really seek out to get a replica box, but there we go. It's definitely a replica one as well because the printing's not quite such high quality. But anyway, this is the SHADO Mobile. It's got caterpillar tracks which run beautifully, it has to be said. They make a wonderful, an accurate noise is how I can best describe it. If you run this along, yeah, it sounds like a tank, you know. It's got that slight squeak to it, and it just sounds like a really heavy vehicle. I mean, it is a really heavy vehicle. This thing, if you threw this at someone, you would knock them out. I cannot lie about that. It is heavy, and really nice, decent size. Again, shaping and detail and everything else really accurate to the TV series, but it's the wrong color. For some reason, it's the wrong color. I think there's meant to be a sticker on the side of this that says Shadow 2 on it. Unfortunately, that sticker is lost to time. So as far as the color variations are concerned, this is the only color that they produced it in. They did change some details and things like that. Interior sort of varied between red or yellow or white. The rollers could be brown or green. The tracks could be black or gray. They also change up the packaging and things like that. So plenty of different variants of this going around. I've got the sort of white interior in there. It's a shame, really, they didn't put any figures in the same way that they put a figure inside the Interceptor. It's a shame they didn't do the same with the Shadow Mobile or Ed Straker's car, actually. But it's a very nice thing, as I say, weighty as heck. And of course, this actually has a play feature on it, which is just really neatly hidden away. If I flick this little sort of radar dish that's on the back, if I flick that to the side, it flips up and reveals a missile launcher. Now, true to form, no missile ever came with this. When I bought it secondhand many, many years ago, the missile was long gone. That's why I got kind of such a good price for it. However, what is great about these is that actually it's compatible with many other missiles. So this one is actually from the Corgi Fab 1, which I borrowed from over there, and it's actually compatible with this. So I am going to load it up and I am going to do a test firing right now. So it's a spring mechanism, very rudimentary. It's very visible and exposed. I think this is sort of meant to be a turret that you can twist and turn, but it's quite limited sort of range of motion on that because it's because the sort of the bed is embedded inside the truck, so you can't really do a lot with it. You can angle it up a little bit, but not very much. Again, it's all sort of quite stiff. It's all very hard metal. It does not want to move very much. Anyway, spring-loaded mechanism, very, very simple, and I'm just going to fire that like that, and there we go. Yeah, very, very simple, very straightforward. Lovely, lovely little thing. But there we go. Yeah, that is the Dinky Shadow 2. I'm actually going to go and get that missile now while I remember it, just so, because I'm sure everyone watching is going, he's fired that missile into oblivion and he's never going to see it again. But no, there it is. So there we go. Let me just pop that on there. Oh, I'm actually looking at the book a little bit more, and I think they also did do, yes, they did do the Shadow Mobile in blue as well. So slightly more accurate to what you see in the TV series then. But anyway, there we go. Very much recommend this book from Fanderston because it's full of really useful information about the Dinkies. Well worth a read. And of course, as I say, do have other Dinky toys from Gerry Anderson in my collection that I would very, very much like to talk about in the near future. But otherwise, there we go. That is the SHADO Interceptor, the SHADO Mobile, and Ed Straker's car. Let me know in the comments which of these is your favorite. Let me know if you had any of these as a kid, or if you've been able to collect them now as a slightly more grown-up kid, like I have done. And yeah, really lovely things. Just really set the tone for all the toys that I grew up with sort of in the 90s and the early 2000s. They're kind of, you can see Dinky in those later toys that came from Matchbox and Vivid Imagination. So yeah, we love the Dinky toys here at Security Hazard, even if they are always completely the wrong color. We do still very, very much enjoy them. But there we go. That was today's Security Hazard Mini. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you want to see any other Dinky toys. And otherwise, please subscribe. I do these videos every single week, talking about a range of different Gerry Anderson topics and toys and merchandise, all that sort of thing. Everything is up for conversation here on Security Hazard Mini. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye for now.
Security hazard negative.